Okay, so no rest for me, and we continue on to our work. So last video we fixed the ore generator by remaking a new ore generator using a Pathfinder. Previous video of that we were debugging ore generator and stuff, and we were supposed to get to configs. This video we're going to work on testing the configs and a few other bugs, and hopefully I have enough time to maybe test one of the mods. I'm doubting that because we're about to hit 3 o'clock, which I call my break off time from modding to do other things. But I might extend this a little further depending on what we want to do. So right now we're going to test the configs. So we have our run folder, our run config, which is what we were testing. We're going to go into our config, build broken, go into Volts Engine, and we have a few different configs to work with. We have the heat map, which is actually telling kind of what different things turn into dust when they get hit by hot objects. This is mainly designed for the IC beam explosives to incinerate objects when they go off. It will be used by even the nuclear reactors and everything else. If you try to encase your nuclear reactors in something flammable, it will catch on fire. It's designed for that. You can turn the heat map off and on. It's actually not really used much right now. It's just used by the explosive system. Let me go ahead and close all this so we get an empty that. We got our explosives, which we're not working on, and okay, we got our volts engine here. So you can disable quite a bit in here. You can disable a lot of the recipes. You can disable a lot of the commands. Enable and disable various things. Now the bug that's been reported is the load ore, so we're going to hit false on this, and we're going to see what happens. Testing one bug at a time. And I wonder if I can, let's see if I can figure out a language for this. Define your language. There's got to be a config-driven language. It's not a CMake. Well, HTML actually probably would parse. Wonder what happens if it parses an INI. No, it doesn't work. JSON, maybe JSP. Oh, it's definitely not a JSP. I just realized what a JSP is as soon as I clicked it. It is a Java-driven file, though. Make file. Normal text, maybe? Yeah, normal text is just normal text. It pretty much is a normal text file, but it actually has formatting to it, but I don't know what it is. Resource file, maybe? That's a little better, easier to read, but it's still not quite hitting where we want. I may end up having just to define something for this later. So we run R's right there, we resource files. It's not scheme, it's not small talk, it's none of that. I actually am not familiar with either one of those. Yeah, we're starting to get down to the languages I don't know. Let's just parse it as YAML, so I get some green highlighting. We can turn off all the ore generators down here. That's how you turn them individually off. Force loads, by the way, for not familiar with them, if you disable this, it won't matter if a mod needs this content, it's going to load. Force load is designed if you want to load something even if that mod is not installed. Let's try to look around here. So force loaded content, yeah, there's a lot of force loaded content. We want to load ores to false, so yeah, we already got that. Load in gym ores, we're going to turn that to false too and see if they both crash. Actually, you know what, we'll test one at a time. Because we need to test heated rocks too, because somebody mentioned that doesn't work. Okay, let's see. Yeah, that'll work. So let's downscreen crack in there and debug Minecraft. Yeah, I was toying with my crack in here, trying to get it to do stuff here. I had to go edit my git ignores because we moved the run files. It was like, here, we want to upload 1,000 new files to your Git repository. And I'm like, no, you do not. I had to go fix it. Luckily, I actually know how to edit the git ignores manually. There's actually not a lot of... I've run into developers that have no clue how to edit the git ignores because they've always used something like git kraken or source tree. How you do it, by the way, if we go all the way out here, is you see if you'll have a file like this, you open this up, and you just put stuff here. So we put the run folder here. You can use wildcards, and if you don't want it to ignore something, you can do exclamation mark and the file path. Right now, we've pretty much ignoring a lot of things. We got a lot of industrial craft versions ignored, because I always store them in here. I actually just need to use regex to ignore these properly, but I'm too lazy to use regex. I only learned it properly recently here a couple months ago, and even then I've only been using it for a variety of small things, things that actually do need regex to work properly, or you're going to sit there and have to manually do a whole bunch of extra work, where regex is amazing at working around problems. Say, for example, you had a long text file and you wanted to parse out maybe like 5 lines out of it, you could code a regex to parse the 5 lines out of it, and it wouldn't matter how big that file is, wouldn't matter how messed up that file is, as long as you build your regex correctly to pull it out. Okay, so we are missing our stone ore. Okay, hit yes, load. We haven't crashed, and all the ore is gone. Okay, so that's good. I mean, it's working. So let's disable the next thing. Let's disable gems and see what happens. I have a feeling that this is not a bug, and I'm just kind of wasting my time now. Yep. Okay, so be false. And disable heated rock. I think heated rock is a force load though, so it you may be disabling it. Well, actually, no, heated rock's not a force load. It's a optional piece of content. It's designed to make stone be hot on contact, so if you try to walk into a recently a blown up crater, you will take damage. Although that is very few explosives actually make it. It's only explosives that generate excessive amounts of heat. We're not talking like a puff of heat. We're talking like nuclear weapon style heat. We're talking the exothermics. They're, I think, the only one that actually generate that kind of heat. And the nukes will generate, not only will the nukes generate that, they'll actually generate lava, plasma, radiation particles. There will be a radiation system, and how it would work is radioactive particles will attach to everything, but they'll attach more excessively to organic matter. So dirt contains a lot of organic matter, so if you rip up all the dirt around your area, you'll be okay, because the radiation will decay. I'll probably set the half-life to be like 5 real day game days or something. I'll do something that isn't tremendously overpowered, and it'll be configurable for those people that want to actually give it a 200-year half-life. Which basically, if you want to give it a 200-year half-life, what you'll do is you go in the configs and you'll turn off decay. Don't try to set a number to actual 200 years, you'll just waste your time, because the game won't load that big of a number. Because what I'll probably do is I'll program a system where you can put in days as your largest number, but it'll go smallest number will be seconds, and then you'll go like say 10s to be seconds, and then you'll go minutes. You can do minutes if you want, hours, days. I'm not doing months. Yeah, so heated rock is gone, and the reason you're seeing it double in there is you're seeing the item and the block are missing. Yeah, they're gone, so there's no problems. So we're not having any issues with the configs. That's not a problem. What other configs can we test now? Actually, let's just go look through the content real quick. So we use no ores in here. Let's see yeah, we have all this stuff. Let's see if we can disable this stuff properly. So we're gonna go ahead and close the game. I don't think that stuff will let you disable it for the simple fact that ICBM needs it. But we can disable DevTools. We can disable loading parts. We can disable loading circuits. Yeah, we'll disable the cheap still recipe. We'll disable the screwdriver. Selection tool. You can't change the force load content. No matter what we do, it'll always return true. Drop the number of threads real quick. Yeah, you can't. If you ever see something that says force load, you can't change it. There's no way to change it if it's required. Let's just start disabling all of our recipes, and we'll test to see if every config works. I feel like this is going to be a short video. But I have proof that I have tested these. Probably do testing of ICBM here next, just to make sure ICBM is functional. And we'll probably do our first server-side test here that I've done in a while. And then I'll probably call it a day on coding. I haven't been up since 6. I actually started at 8 today. But yeah, not too bad. Still got a bit of work to do. I gotta go write a program here to handle some of our build server stuff. We need a program that auto updates VoltEngine build numbers. And what I mean by VoltEngine build numbers, I'm not talking about VoltEngine's own build number. I'm talking about every mod that depends on VoltEngine's reference to that build number. Because we have tons of mods and they all need to know what version of VoltEngine they're built against. And I need to make a system that can auto update those numbers for me. Because it's a pain in the butt to go through and do it by hand. And I'll use that as my prototype for my Git client that I'm going to end up making. So what we'll do is we'll use that and it'll go through all the files. It'll find anything that has the word VoltEngine in it. It'll change those build numbers in there. It'll then go through and commit that for me automatically, saying Git version number updated. And we'll play around with it and I'll test it and I'll make sure it runs properly. There's a lot of stuff I want to do. Like the Git client I end up planning to make, it is planned to, what's the word? It's planned to use metadata, and I'm not talking about block metadata for those who are familiar with modding. Metadata is a generic term for extra data you apply, so it's metadata. And what I would do is I would keep metadata on the Git project working on, so it'll keep track of the name of the project, its build path, all of its dependencies. So that way when you're working on, say I wanted to push VoltEngine using that Git client, and I go, okay, I changed the version number in VoltEngine, and right before I push it, it goes, hey, you've got 57 projects that all depend on this VoltEngine number. Do you want to update them all? And you can hit yes, and it'll go through and update them all. Or it'll update only the ones that had file changes. So if you have active projects with file changes because you changed, say, 3 objects in your API, it'll go through and do that for you. And that would save me a ton of time. It would save my interns huge amounts of time. Well, it wouldn't save them a lot of time. It mainly just saved me time. Okay, so yeah, we just disabled a ton of content. So if we go through, all this is still here. A lot of it doesn't have recipes now because, well, I can't detect recipes. I don't have NEI installed. That all looks good. Yeah, and screwdriver's gone. Insta-shovel's still here, even though it shouldn't be. Yeah, I think Insta-shovel's a dev-only tool anyways. You can't actually disable it. We still have the wire cutters. To be honest, we could probably disable these tools. You wouldn't be able to craft anything. Just fine. That's good. I'm pretty sure some people might want to disable dust. I may actually set up a setting so you can disable dust itself. Because all honestly, there's not a lot of stuff that depends directly on dust. Things that do depend on stuff are more likely the ingots, the plates, the rods, the gears, the screws, wires, and nuggets. Yeah, there's a ton of content. Cool thing is these are all auto-generated. So if I add another material, it just pops up in here. I don't have to do any work. I just do have to add translations to them. And this will all be JSON driven here down the road too, which will be even more beautiful because if a mod wants to come in and add 5 materials to my mod, all he has to do is register 5 new materials with translations, and it's good to go. Yeah, that's the end of the video, man. That's a short video. So I'll make another one here later.